Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video. My name's Justin, and you all have seen the video of me in a drive-thru with a aggressive driver trying to leave the scene of a hit and run. And I wanted to give you guys a story time about what happened that night. I took that video on October 23rd, and I was on my way home from work. I had stayed late to deal with some vehicle problems with a company vehicle, and I decided that on my way home, I did not want to cook. I wanted to just have something easy, and I wanted something cheap. So I went for a $5 meal in a drive-thru. I placed my order at the call box, and I went to the pickup window to pick up my order. I had a quick interaction with the employee, gave them my credit card, got my drink, and while I'm waiting for my order to come out, I get hit from behind and I get jolted forward, and there's a loud bang. The employee inside of the restaurant opens up the window and says, "Get out of the car, get his information." And so I squeeze myself out of my car and I take a picture of the damage that's happened. The car behind me is still up against my bumper. I take a picture of his VIN on the windshield, and I walk to the back of his car and take a picture of his license plate. Since we are in a drive-thru, his window was down. I said, "Hey man, do you have any insurance and a license so I could take a picture because you hit my car?" And he just kept repeating, "I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything." And then the car behind him yelled out the window, "Hey, what's going on?" And I said, "This dude hit my car." And because I'm parked in the pickup window, Jack in the Box started moving the cars that were behind him into the mobile order spots that are parallel to where I was parked so they could continue service. And so one of the cars that was behind him came up and said, "Hey, let me give you my information. I saw everything that happened." So while I'm getting his information, the Range Rover starts to hit his accelerator as fast as he can, as much as he can, and his Range Rover comes up over the rear of my car and comes back down on the rear taillight, smashing the trunk and smashing the rear taillight and bringing him down at a 45-degree angle. At that time is when I get my camera out and I walk towards the area where he had damaged my car and started recording and saying, "Hey, you can't leave. I've called the police and they're coming." And he starts saying, "You better cancel that. You better cancel that." And he starts to let off his brake and he collides into the silver car, and we start letting him know there's nowhere for him to go. The drive-thru isn't wide enough for his car to fit between my car and the silver car. And I originally was towards the rear of my car, and he lets up off the brake and he rolls into my left knee, and I start to back up, and that's when he hits the accelerator as hard as he can, and his car just flies through the whole side of the silver car, and it pushes me up against the hood of my car, squishing me and hitting my knees as it comes and whips back across, and he comes flying out of the drive-thru. In the video, we see he almost gets T-boned. People inside Jack in the Box come running out after that, asking if I'm okay because I got squished between my car and his car, and to give us statements about what happened. I had already called the police. The driver of the silver car came out. I got his information, gave him my information, and we waited for the police for about 5 minutes. And when the police got there, we gave them our statements. We showed them my video. I showed them a picture of the VIN and the license plate of the Range Rover. They called it into their dispatcher. They found out that it was a local address, and while they were there taking measurements, they let us know that the address was local and they were going to try to identify the driver, and asked if we were willing to wait for up to 2 hours to do a field identification. We said we were okay with waiting up to 2 hours. We hadn't eaten our food, so we just made plans to eat inside the restaurant and wait to see what happened. After about 20 minutes, another police officer came back to Jack in the Box and let us know that they had identified a person with that vehicle and found the address, and they were going to take us one by one to do a field identification. I went first, and I rode in a police cruiser, drove around town a little bit, and got to a place, and there were 6 police officers there. And as we slowed down, we drove by, they turned their flashlights on and revealed an individual to us, and the police officer with me asked, "Is that the individual who hit your car?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I need more information. What looks like the person who hit you?" And I said, "His clothes, his body type, his face, his eyes, everything looks exactly the same as the person who hit my vehicle and was aggressively driving towards us." And then they drove me back to Jack in the Box. I finished up eating the food I had ordered and waited for them to clear us to leave. And at that point, I went to a local emergency room, and I spent about 5 hours there that night waiting to see what was going on. I have pain in my knees, pain in my back, pain in my shoulders, pretty much pain everywhere from this accident. And I was given a painkiller at that time, just like extra strength Tylenol, and told to come back in 7 days, and given x-rays and told that there's no broken bones. And I'm still waiting on my medical provider to find out more information about why 4 weeks later everything still hurts. And it left 2 vehicles totaled. Both the silver car and the car I was driving were totaled. The police report came out last week and let us know that this driver did not have insurance and that he only remembers going to Jack in the Box and ordering egg rolls, and he could not confirm if he had gotten the egg rolls or not prior to leaving Jack in the Box. The police report also said that none of the 3 drivers were impaired in any way, and we are currently trying to find out more information as to why that is. We found out that the aggressive driver was cited for hit and run and given a date to appear, and that's it. What's the most important to me is not the perpetrator, but giving the story of the victims. Both myself and the other driver have to pick up the pieces of what we had and now have to take responsibility for the actions of someone else because they were operating a vehicle very aggressively without insurance and don't have anything that could possibly back up the loss of what we've lost at this point. I look forward to keeping you all updated more on the progress and on the intricacies of this situation. I appreciate you all for liking and sharing and following our story. Thank you.